Rock and Roll Geek Show 922.
Still rocking after all these years.
This is the story of my rock and roll butler.
This is it, the show that started it all. Often imitated, but never equal. From San Francisco, USA, online since 2004. It's the one and only Rock and Roll Geek Show. With the original Rock and Roll Geek, Michael Butler.
Welcome to the Rock and Roll Geek Show. My name's Michael Butler. Thanks a lot for joining me. I really appreciate it. Today is Friday, July 19th, 2019, and it is 6:39 p.m. when I'm recording this show open. Yesterday, I did an interview with, well, let me back up a little bit first. The Butlers had a couple of gigs in Los Angeles over the weekend. We went down and played with Mick Cripps's band, Mick Cripps and Nigel Mogg from the Choir Boys, Mick Cripps from LA Guns. Played with their band called The Brutalists and a couple other bands, Joe Normal and another band called The Claws. All the bands were great. We had a great time. So anyway, on the way back, I was in the back of Craig's truck and I got a message popped up on my phone from a friend named Patty, and it was on Instagram. It was an Instagram direct message or something like that, and it said, "Hey, I know you're a podcaster," and something to that effect. She didn't say podcaster, but I know you do podcasts, and maybe you can help Handsome Dick Manitoba. And she sent a link to his post, and it was Handsome Dick Manitoba said something to the effect, Handsome Dick Manitoba from the Dictators, rock and roll legend. Everybody who listens to the show knows about Handsome Dick. Anyway, he said, "Hey, I have a podcast and I haven't been able to upload any episodes for several months now, and I don't know what's going on. Can somebody please help me?" And so Patty had sent me a message and linked to that. So I responded, "Well, I can do my best to help," or something to that effect. And I got a direct message like right away from Handsome Dick Manitoba. Said, "Hey, if you could help me, it'd be great. I'd really appreciate it. Here's my phone number." And so I got in touch with Handsome Dick. Slow down, Butler. I'm getting excited talking about Manitoba because I'm such a huge fan of the Dictators, as most of you probably are as well. Let me slow down, take a sip of this fine Modelo, second one of the day. So we arranged a time. I said, "Well, I'm on the road, coming back home. Let's call me on Monday." So he called me on Monday on my phone, which I feel like Eddie Trunk saying this, but he did. And we spent about 2 hours trying to get him up to speed on getting his podcast uploaded, trying to figure out how to do it. Fortunately, he has a Libsyn account, and I have a Libsyn account as well, so I knew how to upload a show. So we got his latest episode posted. And when I found out Handsome Dick Manitoba had a podcast, first thing I did was subscribe because Handsome Dick Manitoba and a podcast, what's not to love, friends? The guy's got so much fucking charisma and one of the greatest frontmen of all time. So I subscribed immediately. Listened to about 4 episodes on Monday when I was at work. Thoroughly enjoyed it. I mean, I thoroughly enjoyed it. I listened to he interviewed Bob Gruen on episode 1, and I listened to both episodes of he interviewed Lenny Kaye and some other stuff as well. Anyway, so we got his podcast working on Monday, and after we got the latest episode uploaded, we're just talking, just shooting the shit, and he starts talking about the Dictators and this and that, and I said, "Hey, would you possibly consider being a guest on my podcast, The Rock and Roll Geek Show?" And he said, "Absolutely. Since you're helping me, I'm happy to help." So, last night, I interviewed Handsome Dick Manitoba on The Rock and Roll Geek Show. So that's what I'm going to play for you today. Talked to him for about a little bit over an hour last night. Started off, wanting to get into the history of the Dictators and things like that. Handsome Dick took over, took it in his direction, so all I could do was hold on, for the ride, as they say. So I hope you enjoy this. Me and Handsome Dick Manitoba talked a little baseball, talked a little bit about his relationship with the Dictators, talked a little bit about his bar Manitoba's, a little bit about his serious show, a little bit about his podcast, and just a little bit about rock and roll as well. So I hope you enjoy it. Thank you for the donations. I'm not going to thank everybody personally tonight, but I will thank you on the next episode. I'm heading up to the mountains at 4. I'm waking up at 3 in the morning. I'm going up to the house in the mountains. We got the house. Hallelujah! We got the place up in the mountains. I'm going up to pressure wash it tomorrow morning. I'm leaving at 4 a.m. to pressure wash the house. So I can't wait. Can't wait to get up there in the mountains and just see what it's like. See if it hasn't been robbed or anything like that. So where was I? Oh, yeah. Thank you for the donations. Please keep the donations, because without your donations, this show would die a horrible, putrid, stench-filled death. But I would like to thank one person in particular. When I was on the Friday Butler show, we played in Tarzana, California. Both lineups, all the bill played 2 nights. We played first night in Tarzana, California, and the second night in Pasadena, California. Scott Jones used to work for me when I was running the team at Mevio. He worked with me. Scott Jones. He showed up. My good friend Joe Klein and his friends showed up, and I was standing there just talking to some people, and a guy walks up to me. He said, "Hey, you don't know me, but my name's Brad Schultz. I never miss an episode of the Rock and Roll Geek Show. Here's a donation," and he handed me $100 cash. So thank you, Brad Schultz, for that $100 cash. I really appreciate it, friend. That was very, very what's the word? I guess great to see. It's always great to see friends of the Rock and Roll Geek Show show up when I'm out of town. And it seems to happen quite often, believe it or not. I can't believe it myself, but it happened. Thank you, Brad Schultz, for the $100, and thank you for listening, friend. I hope you stick around for more. All right. Thank you, everybody, for donating. I'm going to shut my mouth now and go right into the Handsome Dick Manitoba podcast. The Rock and Roll Geek Show, talking to Handsome Dick Manitoba, who has a podcast called You Don't Know Dick, the Handsome Dick Manitoba podcast. And friends, I'm not bullshitting. This podcast is great. I don't promote many podcasts on the Rock and Roll Geek Show, but this one is good. I love it. It's my new favorite. And he's got a solo album. He finished a solo album. He's hoping to get a record deal and have it come out. I hope it comes out. But he sent me a few songs. So I'm going to play one of those songs after the interview. Before I go into the Handsome Dick, reminds me, I'm going to play something from the Dictators NYC. You know that Andy Chernoff wrote most of the songs in the Dictators. Well, he wasn't in the Dictators NYC, but Handsome Dick wrote this one. And it is called Supply and Demand. I'll play this song. We'll go right into conversation with Handsome Dick Manitoba.
In the band had your asses on the head. They couldn't stick their heads any deeper in the sand. We sat back This guides us to the next land. We spent 23 getting ready to play. The end justifies the means, the gig is a pay. The end justifies the means, the gig is a pay. And this, my friends, is the buzz of the band. This, my friends, is supply and demand. Supply and demand. Supply and demand.
Handsome Dick Manitoba. It's an honor to have you on the show. Welcome to the Rock and Roll Geek Show.
Well, it's an honor being on the show.
Well, you say that you're not a legend, but I think you're rock royalty, as they say. So thank you for coming on. Hey, let me ask you a baseball question to start off with. What do Yankee fans think of San Francisco Giants fans?
Well, first of all, whenever anybody asks me a question about a group of people, I can't answer it. I can only answer for myself. There's like 70 billion Yankee fans, and you're asking me, what do I think they think?
Well, in San Francisco, when Dodger fans, like the Giants fans, can't stand the Dodgers. So
I understand. But you have to understand, in New York, when there were 3 teams, there were Giants fans, plenty of them. But the Dodgers-Yankees made the Red Sox-Yankees look like lovebirds. It was all about the Dodgers and the Yankees. And it wasn't that the Giants didn't count. The Giants hated the Dodgers, National League. It was like that hate. And then there was like World Series hate. You have to remember, when I was a kid, I come home 3 o'clock in the afternoon, there's a World Series game on. And there was 10 teams in the league. And the first team went to the World Series against the other first team out of 10 teams. And then, just like in boxing and UFC, they had to add, junior welterweight, super welterweight. There used to be a welterweight. Now there's 3 titles around welterweight. There's like 18 playoff games now. Because you have to everybody has to have a belt.
Right. So, do you like the Giants or you hate the Giants or you don't give a crap?
I'm an Oakland Raiders fan.
You are? Because I would think you're a Raiders fan. I'm talking about baseball.
Yeah, I know. I'm not stupid. I know. Just to show you that I'm a fan of one of the teams of that area.
Yeah.
Am I a San Francisco Giants fan? There are teams I can't stand, and then there are teams that like whatever, and they're one of the whatever teams to me.
I got it.
I might have hated them if I remembered them playing in New York, but I was a real little kid. So, and I always loved, Willie McCovey and and Willie Mays. When I was in San Francisco, my friend Bob Duncan, he took us around town, took us down the world's windingest street, and then we saw McCovey Cove, and I'm a baseball fan. Like, man, those guys were great. Juan Marichal, one of the best pitchers I ever saw.
Yeah,
I don't hate them. They're one of the teams I don't hate. They're just one of the teams.
Yeah, you don't care because they're National League. So
no, but it's like the Minnesota Twins. If they play the Yankees, I hate them.
Right.
For that time. But during the season, I don't hate the Minnesota Twins. I don't hate, I'm not a big Cleveland Indians fan. They get on my nerves in a few playoff games. But the Giants, like the Dodgers, I'm supposed to hate. But I'm such a Sandy Koufax fanatic. My son's middle name is Koufax. Look at this. The Yankees have first inning, bases loaded, nobody out. Anyway, go ahead.
Oh, you're watching the Yankees game right now. All right, you can give me the play-by-play.
Well, that's doubleheader because we got rained out. It was like Miami torrential rain last night.
Yeah, the Giants played a doubleheader on Monday. So I'm a Giants fan, obviously, because I'm in San Francisco. So I used to be a Braves fan when I was a kid. I know you don't care about this, but I'm going to tell you anyway. I was a Braves fan when I was a kid. Phil Niekro was my guy when I was a kid. Because it was Phil Niekro and Hank Aaron when I was a kid.
Yo, that's a knuckleballer, Phil Niekro.
That's right. So anyway,
I used to like this guy. You're not going to remember him, Wilbur Wood.
Nope, I don't know who that is.
They called him a portly knuckleballer in the Chicago White Sox. He has started both ends of a doubleheader. Wilbur Wood.
Oh, nice.
His record was like one year was like 22-20. He started like 65 games.
Yeah, that was back in the good old days when baseball players actually played a lot.
When men were men and sheep were scared.
Exactly. So anyway, when you started off, I hope you don't mind me taking a little bit back. When you started off with the Dictators, you weren't in the band when they started, right? Were they called the Dictators then?
Yeah, well, we went through a bunch of names that we like messed around with, and when we hit the Dictators, it was like a light bulb went off. And I was, best friend of the band, so I had to have a job. So they gave me a job, quote unquote job, and I didn't do too good of a job as a roadie. I was drunk and stoned, and I lost stuff and I broke stuff, and eventually people started saying, you should let Richard sing a little more, Andy, because he would sing at the end of a show, and he'd always get the best reaction. Like, Andy just, isn't a very charismatic person.
Yeah. So
his songs might have been well written, but, somebody's got to bring it to the people with a special something. And that was me. It's like, and I didn't know it was me. I never planned on it being me. That's the magic of life sometimes.
How old were you when you were the roadie for the Dictators?
About 19, 20 years old.
19. Was that like 1973 or something like that?
Yeah, around there. 73, 74. Then, we played this place, Popeye Spinach Factory in Brooklyn, and Chris Stein was there from Blondie, and Eric Emerson from the Magic Tramps was part of the Andy Warhol crew. And as the years go by, more and more people were there. It was one of those stories. And I was a drunk roadie. Got up, sang Wild Thing at the end of the show, and it was the biggest reaction. So eventually, like my partner now, who never got along with Andy, John Tiven, my partner now, he saw us play with the Stooges, and he said, you should really let Richard be the lead singer. And, Andy and I really started not getting along after a while. He just, he never respected me. He never respected my work ethic.
Even back then?
No, there was a while where it was wonderful. There was a while where we were just getting stoned, getting laid, playing rock and roll, traveling, getting drunk and just having fun. That lasted for a couple of years, I guess, but I don't think deep down inside, and I don't care if anyone disagrees with me, this is just my feeling. My feeling is that he never took too kindly to me being the man. And honestly, it turned bad, and I got to give him more, I got to blame him more, because I always thought we made a great team. He was tall and lanky. I was short and stocky. I was very emotional, and I'll tell you anything about my life, wore everything on my sleeve. He was completely shut down and hidden. It was like, and I thought together it was so yin-yang that it made a great 360. Oh, fuck, yeah. He struck out the sides after he had the bases loaded.
What inning
That's
is it?
Man.
What inning is it?
It's the Yankees it's a doubleheader. It's the second game against the second-place team.
What inning are we
Tampa
in?
Bay. Oh, it just started. It was the first inning.
Oh, okay, plenty of time.
But they're doing one of those things where they're starting a relief pitcher for 2 innings and another relief pitcher for 2 innings. They're doing that.
Yeah, that's the new thing now.
The new thing when you're short. So it became to where people say, and he'll say, it never really bothered him, but how can it not bother when you write the songs and you're in control of everything, and this other guy is like, it's like one of those things where like everyone knows the lead singer. Everyone thinks I wrote the songs. So I became that important to the perception of who the band was. So, and how could that not bother him?
Yeah.
So, a few years later, things just got worse and worse and worse until they got like about as bad as you can get.
Was Andy always considered like the leader of the band, or was just like everybody equal parts? Was it like more of like, you know?
No, Andy is a control freak. The thing is, you write the songs, you get paid for your songs. Everything else is everything else. But he thought he owned the air rights of the Dictators. And what happened eventually was we started Dictators NYC.
Yeah, I went to that show in San Francisco.
Now, it wasn't one of those bands like that would go to like the Temptations, which had no original members or one that went to Vegas. We had me, 45-year lead singer, Ross the Boss, star guitar player, 45-year guitar player.
From the Dictators.
The drummer, JP, we never had a drummer more than 3 years. He was a drummer for 20 years. We got Daniel Ray, who was playing with Ronnie Spector and wrote with the Ramones and produced Ramones albums.
And he was also in Wild Kingdom, right? Wasn't he in Wild Kingdom?
He was in Wild Kingdom for a while, yeah. And then we got Dean Rispler, who played with Murphy's Law for a while. Was an amazing guy, one of my favorite people in the world, and a super great bass player. So that's, we changed it around a little. Andy said, I don't want to do the Dictators anymore. So, in other words, in his mind, that means the Dictators are over.
Yeah, can't do it without me, he thought.
I'm sorry.
He thought, you can't do it without me. So, I'm
No, but he wanted us to change the name to, like, Bob's,
right, yeah.
Plumbing service.
Handsome Dick and the Boys or something.
Yeah, he told me, last thing he ever said to me was, you stole money from me. Huh. Now, his mommy died.
How'd you steal money from him?
What?
How did you steal money from him?
Well, because the Dictators NYC, many people in the world were thought of as the Dictators.
Right. So he figured you were doing gig. Well, he had the option. He had the option to play with you guys, right?
Yeah, as the Dictators or the Dictators NYC.
Yeah.
And like I said, his mommy died, left him a lot of money from selling a house, and what he did was he went to these lawyers and threatened to sue us, which we couldn't afford. So we had to change the name, and names are very important in this day and age. I forget what you call it when, not a name, but a brand,
trademark,
like the brand of the Dictators or the Dictators NYC is worth a lot more than the brand of Manitoba NYC. So when that plummeted, the band, everyone said, "Okay, I'm out of here," and that was the end of it. So he, for all intents and purposes, thousands and thousands of people that were getting joy out of watching us play live and looking forward to us couldn't anymore because Andy had money. If his mother was still alive, he wouldn't have that money. There's nowhere in the world he's going to spend $30,000 suing us.
I wonder why he doesn't want. So this happened after you guys did. You guys, I think you guys did. I don't know. Did you do more than one tour as Dictators NYC?
Oh, damn, yeah. We did 2-3 week tours of Europe for like 6 years straight.
I think you might have only came to San Francisco
and a few tours
once.
of America.
Oh, you did? Okay. I saw you once in San Francisco. I thought that was the only time Dictators NYC came to San Francisco.
We did like two or three of America, and then like for example, we'd go out April and October, 3 weeks each for Europe, and we did great in Europe.
So he got money, and then he said, no more Dictators. So you got no more Dictators NYC, which he probably if you got a lawyer, you probably could have won. But is it really worth it? Were you making that much money to fight him? I mean, you probably weren't making a shit. Probably in Europe, you probably made a shitload of money, but not in the United States.
Let me put it this way. It was enough extra money to make my year easier.
Right, yeah.
Okay, so it did count a lot to me. And to spend that money on a lawyer, everybody would have to chip in, and then
it's not worth it. He had money.
You could win, you could lose, it could be frozen by the judge. Anything could happen.
I wonder what he gets out of you guys not letting you guys. I guess he figured it's his baby, and if he doesn't want to do it, he didn't want anybody to do it. Well,
exactly. He doesn't want it to be confused with the Dictators. He said, you're not allowed to use my picture. I mean, he's not the best-looking guy in the world, but
Yeah.
so, like, why would I use his picture? His picture is like a negative.
Right.
Like,
Well,
you know, the band looked cooler. And I'll be honest with you. I'm not just saying this to be a mean guy. The band played. It was a better band. It was like Ross. I'm singing better than I ever did. Ross is playing guitar better than I ever did. This guy's a much, much better bass player than Andy.
right.
Daniel, you know, as far as technically, Scott's a good guitar player, but he can't sing for shit. And Daniel could sing real good, and Daniel understood the music. That's the important thing.
And Daniel,
So he fit in.
and Daniel Ray can write good tunes too.
Yeah, but we wrote one new song, and me and Ross, and it got really good reaction. So that was the first song I ever wrote.
Didn't Daniel Ray write a bunch of tunes off of on the Wild Kingdom album too? Or was that all? Was that all Andy?
Andy wrote
All
most
Andy.
of that.
You know, Andy has a new song he just released. Have you heard that?
Oh, really? No, I don't. I pay no attention to him.
Because I'm wondering why he doesn't want. You know, he said he didn't want to do it anymore, but then he starts recording again. Maybe he just did that.
No, he really wants to do what he wants to do.
Right.
He's like embarrassed. Like he wrote some song years ago about, hey, let's get the band together, and like making fun of it. Even though they made more money, even though we played better than the Dictators ever played, had more crowds than the Dictators ever had, and you know, did better in every way, shape, and form than the Dictators ever did. But he wanted to stop it, so it had to stop. So then he went and made fun of the band getting back together again, when the band was a much better band.
Yeah, I saw the show I was at was great. I actually snuck a tape recorder into that show and taped the show. I probably have a recording somewhere on my computer somewhere here. I've not listened to it, but it was a great show. And it was packed, too. Normally, the Dictators played at the bottom of the hill in San Francisco, and Slim's was a bigger venue, and the place was packed and it was a great show.
Yeah, Bottom of the Hill's cool club, too.
Yeah. Yeah, I liked Dictators NYC. It was a lot more, it seemed to be more of a powerhouse band. Although I love the Dictators, too, so I can't, you know, it's hard to compare. But
It's just Andy and Scott just aren't the most, you know,
so
whatever. They have their talents, but you know, you come in live, and it was just a better live act.
So Scott
sounded better, looked better.
So Scott Kempner didn't want to do the Dictators anymore either.
I don't know what's wrong with that guy. I think he's got some sort of illness or something, because I've known him since, this will blow your mind, 55 years, since fourth grade, since we were 10. And he came up on stage with us, and he said, this band is so great, they should keep their name. I don't want to have anything to do with going to court or suing them. I don't want any money from them. They're a great, great rock and roll band, and they should go on as is. And then months later, I was talking to him outside in front of my bar for about an hour, and we had a wonderful old friend conversation. And the next thing I know, he wasn't answering any correspondence from me. And my lawyer said to me, he's gone to the dark side.
Which means
so I was like, he's gone to Andy. It was 3 against 1. He went to Andy's side. Everything he said, which I have in print, about how great we are and we should never be changed and he would never go against us, he completely did.
You guys are you guys are all about the same age, right?
Well, Andy's a little older. Me and Scott are like a week apart. Ross is like 3 weeks apart.
You know,
I guess the answer is yeah. But the thing, to finish the thing about Scott, it's like, what happened? So somebody said to me, you said something about Scott's band sucking. I said, I don't remember saying his band sucked.
Oh, the Del Lords.
And then I thought
Del Lords.
I thought, yeah, Del Lords. And I thought to myself, wait a minute. First of all, I don't remember that. Second of all, if I said his band sucked, and I know this guy 55 years, and he's never going to talk to me again, I'm like, there's something mentally ill with this guy. There's something wrong with him. Like, to not come over to another grown man that you were in fourth grade with and just go, what the fuck, man? Why'd you say that? That's really hurtful. Like, there's plenty of ways to like, make up. I mean, if I did, I don't even remember saying it. The point is, what could I have done after 55 years
Right.
that he's never going to talk to me again? So recently he sent some email to me, and I ignored him, because after like a year and a half, I ignored him. See, there's this money held up, this company that collects money, and it's been frozen. And I even got in a fight with Ross about it, but that's for another show, I guess.
Dictators royalties?
It's sound exchange. It's called.
Right. Got
they
it,
collect.
got it.
They collect. Like, if you play on a song,
right? Yeah.
They say, Richard, name all the songs you played on. Ross, name all the songs you played on.
Mechanicals.
So what they did was they gave us 3 hours of a mediator for free, and we had to pay for a mediator. So the mediator called me, and he said, well, what's your take on the situation? And I said, well, basically, I'd like the money, but, if we're going to do it straight up, and let's say I played on only a certain amount of songs, and someone's getting $7,000 and I'm getting $2,000, I'm not going for that deal. And see, the way that company works is, that's the way they work. They collect money per song, per person.
Right.
I'm not telling them to change. I'm saying once they give us the money, we could split it up. Andy Shernoff's the kind of guy. I'm working with a guy named John Tiven. He's a brilliant musician. He's worked on 60 albums. He plays 7 instruments. I went down to his house. There's a home studio. He worked on Wilson Pickett's record. He worked on. He's friends with what's his name? Steve Cropper, a genius. And
you did your solo album with him.
Yeah, but he didn't charge me. Like, in the contract we signed with each other, I don't charge Richard for any of my playing. I don't charge Richard for any of my studio. Andy Chernoff is a guy who did studio work for the Dictators, and I got $10,000 to play 3 songs for the Little Stevens Underground Garage Festival in 2004. I got $10,000.
That's pretty good.
So we should have split it $2,500 each, right? Andy said, I'm still owed thousands of dollars for producing from years ago, and he won't do it unless he gets $5,000.
So
he also said, listen to this, I won't play if you mention the name of your bar on stage.
What
I said, Andy, I feed, so help me God, on my mother's stone. He said, I said, boy, Andy, what if I just say one thing, like, hey, after party at Manitoba's? I said, I feed my kid like that. He goes, no, you're not going to focus. You're not going to focus. It's like he's trying to tell me to do it. So I had a brainstorm. I got my ex-girlfriend and all her girlfriends. I got, what's his name, who passed away used to be an Underground Garage.
Kim Fowley. Kim Fowley?
Who?
Kim Fowley?
Yes, thank you. Kim Fowley. I got Big Pussy, all the guys from The Sopranos. Every single one of them said, Manitoba's, and they all wore Manitoba's T-shirts, and we all talked about Manitoba's, except me. I didn't mention it. And he was really pissed off. And my attitude was, I stole money from him, but meanwhile, he broke up a band that he decided was the Dictators, that 3 of the 5 guys in the Dictators wanted to do. And, you know what I'm saying? Like,
so he took He took $5,000 from that gig, and you guys had to split the other $5,000.
Yeah. Otherwise, he wasn't going to do it. And I can't mention the Dictators. I mean, I can't mention.
You can't mention Manitoba's.
Manitoba's, yeah.
Huh.
So he did all that, and basically, listen, I've been in enough relationships and friendships to know he can call me crazy. I can call him crazy. He can say I'm wrong. I stole money from him. To me, the lead singer, the lead guitar player, and the drummer of a band want to continue playing as the Dictators NYC, not the Dictators, but some people will call us the Dictators, and he's taking that as though, we're going against him, and he's using his mommy's money that she left him. He can go fuck himself.
You guys all grew up together, and you're all in your 60s.
No.
Oh, you didn't know?
No. I grew up with Scott since the 4th grade. We met Ross and Andy around high school and college, like end of high school, early college, and that's it. Like everybody else, nobody else was in the band that long, and we're all in our 60s. Yes.
But you all went through the trenches together. You've all known each other since the 70s. I mean, you're pretty much family. Don't you think that in your 60s that a bunch of guys in their 60s fighting over something so trivial, don't you think that it would seem that everybody would just say, look, man, we're all grown-ups. Why can't we just be brothers and love each other and just let us all make a living?
What are you, a fucking hippie?
Well, I mean, you don't have to literally love each other.
First of all, longevity does not make a family.
Yeah, I know, but
longevity does not make a relationship. I have 2 first cousins. One who's about 73, one who's about 70.
You can't stand them.
They can't stomach each other.
Right. Well, okay, I guess.
It's why don't you change that? Why don't you change it? Because there are, the answer is kind of easy. It's like there are situations that cannot be worked out, and there are situations that can be worked out. And there are situations that don't want to be worked out or don't want to put that. Listen, okay. Let me put this on you. All right?
Okay.
I lost the best job I ever had in my life. I supported my family
on Underground Garage, Little Steven's Underground
14
Garage.
years. Five nights a week, national show.
I want to find out.
Years.
I want to find out the details of that too. But go ahead.
All right. I broke up with my woman of 18 years, and we have a child who's 16 years.
Yeah.
I went to jail. In the following year of those 3 things happening and working themselves out eventually and settling in eventually, not one person, Ross, JP, not Dean called me, or Daniel called me on the phone, sent me a text message, or emailed me to say, what's up, how you doing? People I've known all these years that I've just been on the road with for the last 6 years. Not one call.
Not
and
even
to show
not
what
even
a liar
Ray.
Ross is, what a fucking liar Ross is.
Wow.
He calls me one day, and I go, what the fuck is wrong with you? You know what I went through for the last year? How do you have the balls not to even get in touch? He goes, I tried to call you 3 times. I tried, you didn't answer. Wait a minute. I got 4,000 emails this year, 4,000 phone calls, and 4,000 text messages. You called me 3 times, but none of the 3 came through. But today, it came through because you called me to talk about the money that we should split up among the band that's owed. It's about money. And today, you happen to get through. That's why you're a full of shit liar.
You know what that probably is?
So would you be friends with those guys? After that, would you say, hey, what's up with you guys?
No,
I went through the worst year of my life. How come you didn't call me?
I get it. You know what it probably is? Because with all the Me Too stuff, and they figured you were involved in a domestic case, and you allegedly, quote, laid a hand on a woman or something like that, they probably figured they didn't want to get caught up in any...
Hold on. So everybody reads a story that said allegedly on day 1, but 2 months later, nobody reads that it turned into the equivalent, in my lawyer's words, quote unquote, a parking ticket.
I heard that on the podcast.
I was going to do it was a parking ticket.
I heard
That's what I got.
I heard that on your podcast. You want to tell it to friends of the Rock and Roll Geek Show, or you want me?
Yes. I had a lawyer from the neighborhood who's hardcore East Village, 100 years. His grandfather and father lived in the neighborhood. His son played with my son in the playground. He's a defense attorney. I had him on my podcast because he's so fascinating. His story's amazing. If you listen to my podcast,
I listen. I love the.
You
podcast.
You don't know about Dick.
You don't know Dick.
Listen to the lawyer one. It's great.
I listened to it. It's great.
Okay, so he looked at the case, and the first thing he said is, Richard, this is total bullshit. This is like I was going to call it to me instead of me too. I was going to call it to me. I mean, what people didn't know that morning.
Right.
if you want to fucking hear it.
Yeah, I want to
you
hear
know?
it.
Hear it.
I've heard it, but I want other people to hear it.
Yeah. She came home drunk, and my 14-year-old son said, Mommy's not hungover, she's drunk.
Yeah.
And they got in a fight because he wasn't going to school in time, and she banged his head against the door. And I had to get up out of bed and say, don't you fucking hit him. Do not lay a hand on him. So then I go back to sleep. He goes to school. I wake up. She lost her cell phone. So you got to pay for your iPhone, like for 2 years.
Right.
If you lose it after 4, she lost her cell phone drunk after 5 months.
Yeah.
So I have to pay it, and I'm paying it. Like I worked for 18 years, and she worked 0, and I'm paying it. So I see her. I know she's having an affair for 3 years with this guy and some shitty writer in the West Coast, and she thinks he's I mean, look, she basically crawled to him. She's like a slave to him because she thinks he's the greatest writer in the world. Whatever, doesn't matter
Your
anymore.
girlfriend's cheating
What
on you.
matters?
Was she your wife or girlfriend?
What?
Was she your wife or your girlfriend?
No, she was my girlfriend and my baby mom.
Right. You get the mother of your child.
No, we lived together 17 years.
Yeah. Okay. She's more or less your wife then.
What?
More or less your wife. Pretty much your wife, just not married.
No, but it's not my wife. We never decided to get married.
Exactly.
In New York State, New York's different than California.
Yeah.
There's no such thing
Right.
unless you're married.
So anyway, you've been with this woman forever. She's been cheating on you.
So I see $400 sticking out of her boyfriend's book. So I take 200 of the 400. I said, listen, I'm still paying $38 a month for another 6 months,
for this
8
phone,
months
for your iPhone.
If you give me $200, if you give me $200, that'll pay for a bunch of it. Now you're not working, and you said you wanted to chip into the family, and she goes, "Give me the money." I go, "But this is could help the family." She goes, "Give me the fucking money." She gets in my face. I go, "No, I'm not giving you the money. Why should I have to keep paying and working and paying like you lost your phone and you won't give me some of this money sticking out of your boyfriend's book?" And she wound up, and she's 5'8", 145 pounds, and she wound up with big hands. Her hands are bigger than mine. She wound up with hands. And when I say wound up, it's like she pulled her arm all the way back and smashed me in the ear, and then smashed me in the other ear, then smashed me in the other ear, smashed me in the other 6 times. 3 times, wound up smashing me in the ear. So I just bit her nose, right? I don't know why. I just bit her nose.
Did you draw
and
blood?
Then I pushed her back, which she said I stopped her breathing. I inhibited her breathing. I pushed her back. Like I didn't grab her throat with 2 hands. I didn't grab her throat around her throat like in press. What I did was made like a U and push her throat back to get her body away from me.
Right.
And and she never went to the doctor. She never went to the hospital. There's no mark on her nose. I get arrested. I got to go through the system. I got to go to the tombs. I got to be taken out of the house I own for 93 days. I got to deal with the fact that I can't even tell you the last thing that she did that got her out of here. You know what it is? I can't even tell you because it's so horrible. I can't even tell you. But she did, there is articles. You read what you want in the articles. There's somebody, they interviewed her girlfriend, and her girlfriend said, everyone knows Richard goes through her stuff and is jealous and goes through her stuff. And one of the questions I ask people on my podcast is it okay to go through your mate's stuff, personal stuff, or not? And everyone automatically says no. And I said, okay, let me ask you this question. Is it okay for a cop to stop a car if he sees 2 pounds of cocaine in the back window of a car? And that's, I forget what you call it. That's you're allowed to.
Probable cause.
Probable cause. If you know that your mate has been with other men a bunch of times, if you know that a whole bunch of million other things that you found, you heard, you saw, it's like 5,000 examples would that be probable cause? Because my attitude is yes. My attitude is you can live any life you want, but if you're going to live with me and our son, I want to be able to say, go ahead, do that, do whatever you want. I just want to be with you. Or, hey, if you're going to do that, I'm out of here, right? I want to have that. If you hide everything from me, you're living that secret life, and I don't have anything to say. So what happened was, I get a phone call, the best phone call in the world. I said, let me get my coffee, because my lawyer was, good news, Richard, we win. That was his word.
That's your lawyer.
And my lawyer, yeah, this fucking killer lawyer. And she goes, you are a great lawyer. I said, what do you mean I'm a great lawyer? I'm the guy from the neighborhood. I mean, what do you think, I'm O.J. Simpson?
Oh, yeah.
I had a 9-lawyer team. He said it was a bullshit case. It's like he told them who she is and what she's done in her life. And it was like the district attorney and the prosecuting attorney, believe me, didn't want. They said, listen, we're not making a big case out of this. Not with what she's done in the court. You know, they talk. The lawyer talks to them. So anyway, the good news was you're going to go to court and plead guilty, and people never get this right. You're going to plead guilty to disorderly conduct, and people go, "Oh, it's a misdemeanor." No, it's not a misdemeanor.
Parking
a misdemeanor is
an
a crime.
infraction.
My lawyer's goal was to not have a crime on my record. What did I just say? Disorderly conduct in New York is the equivalent of two guys in a bar screaming or walking down the street screaming with a bottle of beer, making noise. The cops pull them over, give them a ticket. Now, if any policeman in America says to me, have you ever been convicted of a crime? The truthful answer, and the record will show, is no. So after all this bullshit, I'm convicted of a parking ticket, as he called it. You get you know what it's called? A violation.
Right.
That's what I'm convicted of. It's nothing. And so all her bullshit was bullshit. All her friends, you know what her friends made up? That I'm so jealous that I looked at her phone and found stuff on it and blamed it on her son. Now, you know what the truth is? My 13-year-old son found dirty, disgusting shit on his mother's phone that she was sending to other men.
Well,
okay?
To tie this into baseball, the Giants...
I don't know if I should put that out there. I could maybe get in trouble for that.
To tie it into baseball, the Giants...
So you don't think that someone knows who she is saying that?
Nah, nobody.
But
you didn't mention any names.
But wait a minute. My lawyer always told me if it's the truth and it can be proved, you know, then it's the truth and it can be proved. But anyway, that's what happened. And he also said to me, you should have got rid of her a few years ago. And you know what? I'm such a lunatic. I am totally bringing up my son. A guy who wakes up at noon all his life is waking up at 7 to make breakfast, to make sure my son takes his medicine. I took him to every doctor's appointment, everything.
Did you have to go through a custody battle to get your son? Your son's 16?
Not at all. He even said, and I quote, Dad, if you have to go to court, first of all, I forget words, affidavits.
Right. I
got affidavits. I can't even tell you how many, from where. Guys who run schools, 800 children's schools, a fire department down the block, a 29-year retired New York City detective, an ear, nose, and throat surgeon, a couple of lawyers, friends of mine, all writing all this stuff. But it wouldn't go. First of all, my lawyer said, listen, that's going to be years, and it's going to be like a lot of money. And you know what he said, my son? If I go in that room with the lawyer, which as a 15-year-old, they send you in the room with a lawyer. If I go in the room with him, I don't... Oh, shit. Sorry. If I go in the room with him and he tells me I got to live with Mom, I'm just saying I'm not. I'll run away from home. I'm living with you, Dad.
So your wife, the girlfriend was okay.
And he said, you got to... And he said, you should have got rid of Mom 3 years ago.
Yeah.
You're soft. That's what my son told me.
Yeah. Well, you want to keep the family together, keep the mom and dad, both mother and father figure to raise the kid. I can
Well, there is
understand
no
that.
family together. She's living in the West Coast.
Well, I mean, no, at the time, in the 3 years that you stayed together, when you should have got rid of her, you stay together because you want to raise your son with a mother and father.
I wanted to, and
Yeah,
she wanted to be a child and
Exactly.
and get high when she wanted to and screw around when she wanted to, and I, it was killing me, and
Yeah, I can
it was, and I should have left earlier, and I'm investigating why I didn't. It's like I'm the woman in the situation that you always hear about that stays too long with a bad man. You know what I mean?
Do you go to a psychiatrist?
What?
Do you go to a shrink?
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a pill pusher shrink, and I have I love psychology. I go to a psychologist, and I make my son, he's got a great shrink that he goes to once in a while, not all the time. And he goes to a great private school that's half academic and half clinical with 3 on-premises psychologists. So it's great. We're covering ourselves. These are things I believe in.
Yeah. Did you ever think in your life that Handsome Dick Manitoba would go to a psychiatrist?
Oh, I've loved it. I've loved it. Are you kidding? Over 35 years.
Oh, really?
I make Woody Allen look like he's never gone before. But when I got clean and sober in 1983, and if not for the combination of psychoanalysis with what the sobriety is about with the 12 steps, if not for the combination of the two, I don't think it would have worked. Because I can't stand in that room full of people and say everything, but I could go lay down on a couch and say everything to somebody I trust and believe in. I really believe there's nourishment in talking to the right person.
Well, I guess back to the original thing. I guess the reason the guys in the band and Dictators, NYC, and all that, you guys don't speak. Maybe they figured they didn't want to get involved in the Me Too stuff, and they thought this was like a Me Too thing.
But dude, it stopped being a Me Too thing a year ago.
Oh, I'm on your side. I totally agree with you. I'm just thinking, maybe that's what they think.
I lost my job. I went to jail. And
you went through a tough
how
time.
come Dean?
Yeah, where's your
Dean
friends?
called me up?
Yeah, where's your friends?
But Dean called me up. We had lunch 3 times already. How you doing? He keeps in touch. Wait a minute. Hold on. I understand what you're saying. It's a thought. It's not a stupid thought. It's something. But Dean sends me an email, says, "How are you doing?"
Is Dean?
What does it have to do with Me Too?
Yeah, Dean is Daniel Ray, right?
Dean is the bass player with the big hair.
Oh, okay, right, yeah, the bass player, yeah.
And so how you doing, Richard? Is not involving them in Me Too exactly,
right?
Because I would actually tell them what happened, that I got a parking ticket.
Yeah. I'm just trying to wonder why Ross the Boss, who you played in a band with forever, and J.P. Patterson, who you played in a band with forever.
JP, I never liked him very much.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, I just, he's an amazing rock and roll drummer. Some of the guys in the band like him a lot more than I do, but we never got along great. But sometimes you got along okay. It's tough sometimes to be on the road when you're sober and the other person isn't.
Did the Dictators tour with Kiss?
A few shows.
I heard that you made fun of Paul Stanley and got thrown off the tour?
It's absolutely true.
What happened there?
Well, after a show or two, I don't remember. It's hard to remember details. But after a little while, we'd watch Kiss every night. I'd watch Paul Stanley basically fill in the blank of the city they were playing in.
He'd say funny shit.
Saying something like, "I hear Cleveland is a hot rock and roll town.
Yeah.
I hear Des Moines.
How y'all doing tonight?
Oh, my God. I'm never gonna be a big rock star. That's
Yeah.
so fucking
Yeah,
dumb.
it's phony.
I can't do
It's
that
phony.
every night.
It's not real. It's phony.
So, what?
It's phony. It's fake.
So it's like, so one night I got up, and we were in, let's say, Davenport, Iowa, and I hear Davenport is a hot rock and roll town, and then went crazy, and we got thrown off the tour the next day.
Wow. Was that the Manifest Destiny tour back at that time with Animal Mendoza in the band?
Jesus, you know what? I don't. That's two questions about memory that I don't remember.
Yeah.
Did Mark in the band at that time? I don't remember Mark's longevity. To tell you the truth, he was great. He's a great guy, and
did you guys?
Yeah.
Did you guys tour with AC/DC too?
Yeah, we did a few shows with them. They loved us. We loved them. We toured with Bon Scott. Man, that's a great band.
Yeah.
That is one great band.
Yeah.
And I'm proud to say that we know that they loved us.
Yeah, I imagine everybody loved the Dictators. I know I did. Did you know Wendy O?
No, I might have run into it once or twice,
Okay.
but the guy who helped put together the Plasmatics with her, what was his name? He did this thing called the Ms. All Bear America pageant, which is like a naked pageant in the Beacon Theater, and the Dictators came up from the basement on a riser to the stage, playing a heavy metal version of America the Beautiful, and we had Don Imus was the host, and Henny Youngman was the comedian, and these girls would get interviewed like a beauty pageant,
right?
And shit, Mike, can I put you on hold? Is that good?
Yeah, that's fine.
My son's on the line.
Okay,
hold on.
I'll pause it.
Yeah, AC/DC. What else?
So what happened with so you had the Little Steven's Underground Garage radio show for how many years? 14?
14. Yeah. And I missed none. I didn't miss one show. 5 shows a week. 14 years. I didn't miss one show except for when my baby mommy, I came home from playing a tour in Europe, like 18 shows in 19 days, and
did you do the show from Europe?
I got home early enough to go run and do the show.
Okay.
I got home at 3:00 in the afternoon. I could have got up there at 6 or 7, done the show, and never missed one show in 14 years. But because she told me to stay home and rest, I missed that one show in 14 years.
And you got fired?
That was serious. That's fun. 18 shows in 19 days in Spain. That's heaven to me.
Yeah. So what happened why is your show still not on Sirius?
It's another person. Like sometimes, look, I don't know why Andy is Andy. I don't know why Little Steven is Little Steven. Like if I was writing a book, I'd be writing a book. Like the first half of the book is he's the greatest, most giving, most wonderful human being I've ever known. The second half of the book is the guy is completely perplexing to me, and I don't understand why the things that went wrong, according to me, are so severe that he would cut off a 40-year relationship. Here we go again, and never talk to me again, and completely wipe out my entire living.
Huh.
And so I understand why he sold the bar. He was the main owner of the bar. The bar was losing money.
Manitoba. So he was a major investor he was one of the owners of Manitoba's.
The main owner. He saved the bar. I thank him for doing that. He didn't have to put up money. The bar was made money, lost money, made money, lost money, but it never really made money. It was too small of a bar, but it was a great bar. People loved it.
Yeah, I went in there.
He wanted to put it on the market. I understand. He don't want to lose any more money.
Right.
The thing is, the show, I mean, I don't know. It seemed to me like every year he got mad at me for something different after being an amazing friend and an amazing, wonderful guy. But then I did something I wasn't supposed to do.
Which was
I
what?
think which was after I drew a Jewish star on this girl's desk who was Palestinian, because she had like 100 Palestinian things all over. So I drew a Star of David like about an inch big on the side of her desk. And I was told I'm fired by Sirius. And then Steve said, we're going to tell everybody Richard is following his musical career. And then I emailed him 3 times saying, please let's talk, Steve. It doesn't make sense. I've been playing for 6 years in a row. I'm working on my first solo album. No one's going to believe it. I'm already getting emails saying, what do you mean you're following your musical career? You never stopped following your musical career. I said, Steve, please. The thing was, everybody's attitude was, look, the guy fucking saved your bar. He told you what to do. He's the boss. He doesn't have to answer your emails back. He told you what to do. You didn't do it. I went online, talked about the Jewish Star, and he fired me. And he fired me like, he was like, you're out. You're completely, like I was fired anyway.
Wow.
He said, I spent 3 days fighting for you, trying to get you back, and I couldn't. But now you went online with that, and now he called me like these names, and he completely turned. Like to me, to me, I feel like, to me, this is my feeling.
Yeah.
Like I did like 20 years in jail for an ounce of pot, you know? Like, but people who are on Steven's side, forget the bar. I'll never not be grateful that he did that. The job was a great, great job. Paid well, national radio show, Handsome Dick Manitoba. But the problem is, if I give you a great job and you do a great job and I own the station or I own the bar and you're a great bartender, we're doing each other a favor. That was not a favor. That was like a trade-off. So, like, to me, so everybody else, it would be like, you should have just shut the fuck up. If he said, Richie, shut the fuck up, just do what I say, stop sending me your emails. Okay, so that's his way of putting it. He's the boss. He wins. He always wins. He's the boss. On my way of looking at it, because I do have a way of looking at it. I'm a 64-year-old man reaching out to my friend of 40 years to please get back in touch with me and either tell me to go fuck myself and do what you say, or what else do you want to think about? So I didn't get that. I got nothing. And then I got a lawyer friend of mine to call up Sirius 3 times, and Sirius said, Richard could come back and work for Sirius Satellite Radio, but he could only work for Steven's station. And Steven said, no way. And that was the last I heard from him.
Huh. Did the bar got shut down before you got fired from Sirius?
I'll tell you what else. I think, this is not a fact, I think I made more money. As a matter of fact, I know I made more money than one guy who's there now who's like bigger than me and who's done more than me. So if I'm making more than him, he's got to be making more than everyone else. I think people are working for peanuts there.
Oh, probably.
Just to like be there.
So many people
have their name there, kiss his ass. And I made really good money. I mean, 90% of my Social Security next year is going to be for that job. So fuck it.
So did you get fired from Sirius before Manitoba's closed or after?
The Manitoba's closed like 2 weeks ago.
Oh, so he was still one of the owners after he fired you and refused to talk to you.
Yeah, but 10 months ago he said put it on the market.
Oh.
Nobody wanted to buy it.
So somebody bought it two weeks or
no, dead. I got all the pictures off the wall.
Wow, you know, a lot of people came from all over the world to go to that bar.
Good, don't make me sad, man. I'm pretty sad about that.
I went to that bar. I sat there and looked at pictures on the wall, and hoping that I would see you walk into that place.
I live 2 blocks away. You know what it's like? I'm sitting here on my couch watching the baseball game. I would walk out of my door, walk 2 blocks. And hang out with like 4 or 5 friends watching the Yankee game, you know, my clubhouse.
Yeah,
I lost my clubhouse. I'm very sad about it.
it was a cool neighborhood bar. So you're not doing anything for money now. You're just living off Social Security.
No, I'm not taking Social Security yet.
Well, how
So
you
I'm
getting
66.
how are you getting money?
That's that. What?
How are you collecting
I
money?
saved up. I did some smart things. Like, let's say my highest bill is $1,000, right? Let's just say every 3 months for my son's life insurance. I paid a year in advance. I don't have to pay rent until October. My rent is very cheap. I don't want to get into it. It's just very cheap.
Right.
It's what's called Mitchell Lama Co-op. Mitchell Lama. Started in 1964. It's a government subsidized co-op. It's not a co-op I could sell for like $500,000. This co-op would be worth $1.5 million if I could sell it. So my rent is that cheap. It's like 1970s rent. So my rent is very cheap. I have my son's life insurance paid for. I'm a couple of months ahead in my rent. And the rest is like, food and, cell phone and this and that. So I have a few things. I'm about to sign a record deal and have my solo record out I'll probably sign the deal in the next 2 weeks. Probably put the record out in November, December.
What label? Do you know what label?
I'd rather not talk about it.
Okay,
I don't
you don't
want
want
to
to
jinx
jinx
it.
it. I
Let me
don't
put it
blame-
this
I don't
way.
understand. I
It's a
understand.
boutique label. It's a small label, but it's one of my favorite labels of all time.
Has anybody heard the new music?
Some people, yeah.
Do you want?
I send out some. I'll send you. What do you want? A couple of songs?
Would it be okay if I played one of the songs on this episode?
I got to ask my partner. He's really very
Okay. All right.
he's very opinionated about that, and I always sort of yield because he's been such an insider in terms of records and deals and he's worked on 60 albums in his life.
Well, I'd like to hear it
So he's had-
anyway.
Yeah, let me ask him. You are playing on your podcast?
Yeah, I would like to, if possible.
Yeah, what I would send you is one sort of really like sweetie pie melodic stuff. One that I wrote about a girl I fell in love with up in the country, up in the Catskill Mountains when I was 8 years old.
Uh-huh.
I always have to say that. I was
Right.
like, she's 8 years old. Wait a minute. I was
Right.
8 years old too.
Yeah, exactly.
And it starts the album off. It's called Shelly. We have this song called Born in the Bronx. I could send you that one because that's the name of the album. And then one I could call you is the song about heroin. What's it called? Cooker. It's called The Cooker and the Spoon.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I heard you talking about that
If
on
you
the
play it,
Go
if you play it, you gotta
I can
do something like read the words first, then play it.
Okay, I'll do that. Or I'll only play half
Something
of
like
it or
that.
whatever. Yeah, anything. It's fine.
Well, that's what I did on the record. That's all I did on the record.
I can't wait
So
to hear
that's
it.
not going to make it. No, I'm sorry. That's not going to make a lot of money. It'll make a couple of bucks. So I just put something out online saying like, hey, man, I'm looking for some creative work. I don't want to, I could get a job delivering mail for 6 months or a year just to get me over the top, till I need that solid chunk. I'm going to have a small chunk starting in January when I turn 66. And then I just, you know what I mean? I add a little on here, 2 little jobs, and then you add it to that. And,
You could also ask for donations on the podcast. Ask for listeners, hey, if you like this show, send me a donation. Send me $20. If you think this show has any value to you, because a lot of my show survives on donations, and you're a lot more famous. Handsome Dick Manitoba is a lot more famous than Michael Butler. And if I make what I'm making on my podcast, you'll be making. Just from donations, you can make some money.
How do you
I have a
How do you
I have a
get them?
I have a PayPal link on my website. I have a thing called Patreon, which is what most podcasters do, have Patreon.
I know Patreon. Yeah.
And they say, hey, if you like the show, and this show ain't free. I got to pay my hosting and blah blah blah. I got to pay my libsyn costs or whatever, and my website. Send me some money if you like the show. Just throw me a couple of bucks, and be surprised. People will throw you a couple of bucks. They throw me more than a couple. And if I can do it.
Really? And so you mainly use Patreon?
I have Patreon. I have PayPal. One guy, I was playing a gig down in L.A. last week. A guy walked up to me at our gig and said, hey, man, I listened to your show. Here's $100. He handed me $100 cash.
Oh. See, that's all paper trail now.
Yeah. You make... you. I'm just saying, if those are ways you can make some money. I mean,
Yeah. Well, that I'm gonna have to pick your brain after we get done with the other stuff. I gotta get those MP4s to MP3s.
Yeah, I'll show you how to do that. A couple more questions, and we'll wrap up this podcast. Okay.
Whatever you want.
All right. So, you were a big Robert Crumb fan. You were you're R. Crumb, like. Big fan,
I
right?
think he's a genius.
Here's a funny thing. A friend of mine who I played in a band with works at the O'Farrell Theater in San Francisco, strip club. And there is a pen and ink drawing of R. Crumb that R. Crumb did on the wall upstairs in the office at the O'Farrell Theater. It's about 6 feet tall that he did on pen and ink. And they're trying to sell that building because of the same thing they're doing in New York, gentrification, turning everything into condos or whatever. And my friend is going to, when they sell the building, he's letting me go up there and cut out that big piece of plaster, 6-foot piece of plaster, an original R. Crumb drawing of like a couple of naked women.
Doesn't he know how much it's worth?
He knows how much it's worth, but the owners of the building don't know how much it's worth. They're just going to tear the building down. They're not going to try to salvage that R. Crumb drawing. They're just going to tear the building down and make condos.
Wow.
So anyway, I thought that would impress you. Maybe it doesn't.
You'll be rich.
I'll hang it in my house. I won't sell it. I'll hang it up because I'm an R. Crumb.
Wow.
I'm an R. Crumb fan too. The Boy Howdy logo is. Iconic. So,
yeah, and I mean that's one of the cultural things that we would come down from the Bronx, like 1969. The Bronx would staying in the Bronx would be like staying in the small town, like living outside of Chicago, San Francisco, Los Angeles, and like never really going into the big city. And staying in the Bronx, if we stayed there after 9 at night, it's shut down. There's nothing to do. So we'd come downtown, and we would, go to the Fillmore East, and we'd go to the Electric Circus, and we would go buy, head shops and underground comic book shops and buy Zap comics. And, I'm celebrating my 50th year of hanging out in this neighborhood. Not hanging out, but for a bunch of years I hung out, and then I wound up living here. So I've been in this neighborhood for 50 years.
When you were a kid, I don't know, when you were 8 years old, when fell in love with that 8-year-old girl that you wrote a song about, what did you want to be when you grew up?
I never really knew.
You didn't
I
have
never really knew.
It wasn't even in your mind to be a singer in a rock and roll band.
No, never. As a matter of fact, I'm so desperately trying to get my friend Richard Price, the great writer, to write some liner notes. I have my own funny idea of liner notes where, like you just said, so Handsome Dick, when did you when did you first decide you wanted to be a singer in a rock band? And my answer is B. I never wanted to be a singer in a rock band. So Handsome Dick, when did you decide you wanted to be on national radio? I never wanted to be on national radio. So Handsome Dick, so it goes along like this and goes on like this, and then it ends with something funny. and then a quote by David Bowie, like make art, and then while they're busy deciding if it sucks or it's good, make more art. And that's basically what it is. Like it's one of those things in life. My story, that's why my story can't be told. My story, it's like people ask me, how do you do this? How do I get involved in this? I go, I have no idea. All I did was step in shit, and then step in shit, and then step in shit. And then I invented something, and people responded to it, and I took advantage of it. I think when I was like 15 or about 12, I wanted to be a psychologist. I always was just intrigued by the human mind, the way it works, and how it doesn't work.
So, you wrote you were going to write a play or a one-man show. Is that written or just something in the back of your mind?
I tell you what, man, it's an interesting thing. I had to talk with my shrink. For the moment, he talked me out of it. It's a one-man show based on what I wanted to do is have like a real potpourri of my life. I wanted to come out, walking back and forth across the stage, come out to some music, walking back and forth and telling like little 5-minute, 7-minute funny stories, stopping, saying, you know what, let's have some live music now. Have the band come out, play like 5 or 6 songs, do like a half-hour musical break, 20-minute musical break, and then have the centerpiece of the show, like a 20-minute story, half-hour story of what happened with me and my old lady, ex-old lady. I wanted to have that, and that was going to be called 93 Days. It was the amount of time I spent out of my house that I own. And then I had her served with papers to have to leave the house. And she said to me, I would never, ever throw you out of the house and not give you no money. And I just said, you're a very, very good manipulator and at making people feel the way you want to make them feel. So here's the choice. Our son leaves the house. He wants to live with me. I own the house. I leave the house. Or you leave the house. Right? We can't stay together. We just built a volcano, and the volcano erupted. And, she blamed me for everything and blamed me for driving her into another man's arms and all this bullshit. The thing is, I think about it, I talk about it, think about it. It doesn't matter anymore. It mattered. It doesn't matter anymore. It's done. My son, he still loves his mother enough to go visit her in California, a few days here, a few days there, a year. I'm sure she's really sad. Listen, she's a mother. She gave birth to the kid. She loves her son to death. And, she sees him like 25 days a year. It's got to be eating her up,
So your psychiatrist talked you out of doing a one-man show?
The reason he didn't talk me out of it. That's not the way I look at it. I understand why you said that because of what I said. But what happened was while I was talking to him about it, he said, if you're going to make the centerpiece of the show, the whole thing that happened with Zoe, you're bringing it up again. Instead of moving on, your album came out. All that stuff gets pushed back. Your other thing came out. All that stuff gets pushed back until eventually it's something like there's 25 things going on in your life, and that's like your 26 and 27. And if you're going to bring that front and center and make this whole incident and all this bad stuff and good stuff and bad stuff that went on in your life, the horrible stuff that hurts you every time you read it, from Rolling Stone, all the lies and manipulations from somebody lived a life of that. It's bad for you.
It's not healthy.
It's bad. It's just bad. It's bad for your handsome Dick Manitoba-ness.
What if you did a one-man show where that was only a small part of it, and you showed a bunch of old footage from the old CBGB's days and Max's Kansas City days, and old history of punk rock with the Dictators forming, and then you and Jane Counter or whatever, you and Iggy Pop, and made that just a part of the entire one-man show. And you just went off the cuff and did like a kind of like a Mike Tyson. You know how Mike Tyson did his one-man show kind of thing. What if you did something like that?
I don't know. A few reasons why it's on my chalkboard, as they call it, but on the bottom.
Because that could make some money.
I don't think. I think, first of all, it's a new craft. It's not like you just get up there and do it. Like, I've done talking. I've done telling stories.
You know how to talk, though.
What's that?
You know how to talk. I mean, you can go.
It's still a different craft, Michael. It's still a different craft.
Yeah, but you have a ton of charisma. You got a shitload of charisma. You know how to talk.
Yes.
You're an intelligent man.
But it's not radio. It's not rock and roll. It's not.
You conquered all those things.
It's still a different craft. You have to put your time in. How to put it together. How to tie it together. How to be fluid. You have to have people on stage. You have to have lighting. You have to have people helping you. I want to have a big screen behind me with stills.
You can
so
do
people
it.
Can laugh when I. It's a lot more work than you think, and then you start in 50-seat theaters. And what are you going to do if you've never done it? You can charge $25. You have to charge $10, $12. It's $500, $600 to start with. It's a lot of work. I got to open a book. I'd rather do a book. The book at least got to offer me $20,000, $30,000.
You should do that too.
Like what?
You should do a book too. Do a book and the one-man show and the solo album. All of it.
Can I borrow some of your money you make from your podcast?
Well, yeah, I got sure. Hey, man, if I had the money, I'd finance it for sure. I'm not rich, but
I would. What I really want to do is get this record out so people can like or not like what I've come up with, which I'm proud of. And then I want to play some shows with a band, some shows here and there.
Yeah.
And then I want to keep building my podcast until it gets big enough that it's kind of big. And then after that, I could think about, a book. Maybe a book would be good at that point because it'd be money, somebody would be helping me do it, and it might be fun. At that point, like a couple of years and I'm older, I'm more tired, I'm still high energy.
You did the MC5 thing for a while. When Wayne Kramer came back this last year and did some MC5 things with guest musicians, did you play with that? Did you participate in that at all?
No, I asked his wife, "What's up?" And she's like, "Oh, blah blah blah." They wanted like big rock stars for this one.
Yeah, okay.
MC50. Listen, I want to put it right. I would like to have done it. I wish they would have asked me to do one or two songs.
Who sang on? Who did the singing on it?
I don't know. There's a bunch of rock stars that are in bands that I'm not really up on the new bands that much, but they're obviously very famous. But I don't know who they are. Wayne does.
Yeah.
But it's Wayne's trip. Wayne's the kind of guy who he'll call me to do something or we'll connect on some level to do something together. Otherwise, like 5 years will go by, I won't hear from him. And
you had fun doing that MC5 thing, though, right?
Oh, man. You know how I put it? What if somebody asked you, how would you like to travel around Europe for 3 weeks and get paid money to sing Kick Out the Jams?
That would be like asking me, how would you like to travel around Europe and play Who Will Save Rock and Roll?
Okay, fair enough.
In other words, I would fucking love it.
Yankees just tied it up. Who just hit a home run? With 1-0. Yankees were losing 1-0.
All right, well, Handsome Dick Manitoba, the legend.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to be rude.
That's okay. Handsome Dick Manitoba, the legend, punk rock royalty, and the greatest entertainer. What is it? What is the tagline? World's greatest entertainer.
The world's greatest entertainer.
And host.
Since Sammy Davis Jr. died.
and host of the podcast called You Don't Know Dick, which, by the way, is a fucking great podcast. Everybody, please go subscribe to this thing because it's a great podcast. I'm not blowing smoke up your ass, Dick Manitoba. It is a great podcast. I love it.
I appreciate.
I have listened to. I've listened to every episode except for the latest. Not the latest. I listened to the latest, but not the. I'm up to Tom Morello. That's the one. The only one I have not listened to yet. But go subscribe to it, friends. You Don't Know Dick. It's a great podcast. Handsome Dick Manitoba speaks from the heart, and there's no filter either, and that's what I like about it. So
Tom Morello's great, by the way. He's a great guy, great man.
Well, I look forward to hearing that one too. Is you still do the show now because you have a bunch of episodes in the can that we haven't posted yet? Because here's the little backstory. I've been helping Handsome Dick Manitoba get this thing back going. So you have a bunch of shows in the can. Is your female co-host on the other episodes too?
She's on some. As a matter of fact, the first time I talked to her in about 2 months today, because we got so bogged down with bullshit, and she's looking for like jobs herself. So I have my friend set up Monday. Well, he won't make it on for about a month because I got to catch up with this other thing. But my friend is a great, fascinating, interesting guy. And he'll come in the bar, and I just listen to him talk. His name is Keith Elliott Greenberg. He's written about 8 books. He wrote scripts for the WWE for Vince McMahon for 20 years. Huh. He's a producer of American Most Wanted for 10 years. And he's just a fascinating guy. He's got just like endless stories, and he's very well spoken. He's very bright, and I can't wait to have him on Monday. But when it airs, God knows that'll have a lot to do with you.
All right. Well, I'm going to help.
That'll have a lot to do with you.
I'm going to help you with all of them because I want to see this thing succeed. So I'm in your corner, Handsome Dick Manitoba. Thank you so much for coming on the Rock and Roll Geek Show. I really appreciate it, man.
Man, you're great. It's my pleasure. You've been wonderful to me, and anything I could do for you, I give back.
All right. Thanks. So I'm gonna push stop on this record, and then I'll help you, whatever you need me to help you, okay?
Okay.
All right. Well, there you go. I hope you enjoyed it. I know I did. Handsome Dick Manitoba, the great Handsome Dick Manitoba. Once again, his podcast is called You Don't Know Dick, available where fine podcasts are anywhere. And it's like I said, it's one of my favorite podcasts. I'm now looking forward to, even though I'm helping him upload the episodes, I can't wait to help him upload a new one because I can't wait to listen to it at work or whenever I listen to a podcast. It's very entertaining for me. The guy's got no filter, speaks from his heart, and it's probably the most honest, with the exception of the Rock and Roll Geek Show. It's probably one of the most honest podcasts out there. So I hope you listen to it, friends. It's called You Don't Know Dick, the Handsome Dick Manitoba podcast. All right. I'm going to close out with a song nobody has ever heard, ever. Handsome Dick Manitoba solo music. I didn't think he was going to send me this stuff. He said he would when I interviewed him. And I said, well, should I ask him for these songs? I mean, am I putting him out by asking him? So I said, fuck it. So I sent him here's an Eddie Trunk thing coming again. I texted Handsome Dick today at work. I can't believe I said that. I texted Handsome Dick and said, hey, just asking if you could send me a song from your solo album to play on the show. And he sent me 4. And he sent me all the lyrics of these songs because the lyrics are very important in his songs. He speaks from the heart, and these songs are extremely honest. Quite a departure from the Dictators, but I would say they're more of like if Handsome Dick was doing Bruce Springsteen. I guess this you could say this is Handsome Dick Manitoba's Bruce Springsteen stuff. I don't know what that means, but it's a departure from the Dictators, but I love it because it's so heartfelt and you can just tell he is speaking from a deep place, and I like it. So what I'm going to play for you is a song called Cooker and the Hit, which obviously I'll read you a little bit of the lyrics because the lyrics are obviously very important to Handsome Dick Manitoba. Coming out of my room, I got a bad head start, yet I lived long enough to break 5 of my hearts. I broke every damn rule the playground had. Got thrown out of school, should have been a grad. Reminds me a little bit of Dee Dee Ramone, actually. He has a lot of Dee Dee Ramone qualities, I think. And Dee Dee Ramone, genius. You don't need me to tell you that. I never did live by the golden rule. Made me the least liked kid in school. When I tried to get a job, it was the same old thing. Black sheep's among us. Got nothing for you, kid. While my mates were experimenting with their hippie bullshit, I was falling in love with the cooker and the hit. All right, here you go, friends. Cooker and the Hit, thank you for listening to the Rock and Roll Geek Show. Please keep the donations coming because without your donations, as you know, this show would die a horrible, putrid, stench-filled death. You can find this show at rockandrollgeek.com. You can send me an email. Let me know what you thought of this. Go to handsomedickmanitoba.com. Send him an email. Let him know you heard about him on the Rock and Roll Geek Show so he doesn't think he wasted an hour and a half of his time. And you can, like I said, you can find me on the Facebook R&R Geek, find me on the Twitter R&R Geek, find me on the Instagram Rock and Roll Geek. Don't ask. All right, that's enough of me yapping. Here's Handsome Dick Manitoba solo, Cooker and the Hit. We'll talk to you soon.
Coming out of my mom, I got a bad head start. Yet I lived long enough to break 5 of my hearts. I broke every damn rule that the playground had. Got thrown out of school, I should have been a grad. I never did live by the golden rule. Make me the least liked kid in school. When I tried to get a job, was the same old thing. The black sheep's among us. Got nothing for you, kid. While my mates were experimenting with that hippie bullshit, I was falling in love with the cooker and the hit. My moving on is done. I guess this is it. I was in love with the cooker and the hit. With my nightlife gone, my 10th had arrived. Can't believe I was saved this one more time. Be it luck, the universe, or God's mighty pass, I gotta believe luck saved my ass. I can't stop now, living in 6th gear. Slowing down, baby, it's hard for me to hear. Throwing 7s and 11s is my way of life. 2s and 12s are a sucker's strike. There ain't no hell, the ascent is gone. It's crash and burn time, baby, that ain't no fun. While my mates were experimenting with the hippie bullshit, I was falling in love with the cooker and the hit. My moving on is done, I guess this is it. I was in love with the cooker and the hit. Forget it, son, it's the farm you just bought. So I'll be food for worms, it's all but done. Lord Odin says, come live with me in Asgard, my son. While my mates were experimenting with your hippie bullshit, I was falling in love with the cooker and the hit. My moving on is done, I guess this is it. I was in love with the cooker and the hit. The cooker and the hit.
It's a rock and roll geek train wreck.